So I think we're supposed to open it up to questions about songwriting or the music business or whatever you guys want to talk about. The weather, politics, we're good for whatever. But I think it's supposed to be songwriting in the music business. Anybody got questions? Yeah, there's one right back there.
Hello. Thank you guys for a great performance. I have a question about inspiration. And obviously you guys have all talked through moments where you felt stuck. Maybe you didn't have new ideas. So what are some maybe systems or routines you create for yourself so that you can stay creative? And in those moments where you're feeling stuck, what do you do?
Oh, I do a weird thing in the morning where I literally, I know, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? It's not what you think. It doesn't involve gummies or anything. No, I literally just write and just go crazy writing, just kind of gibberish and like my thoughts and no editing of any kind. Just in the morning, just write like crazy. And what happens is the first couple sentences are just absolute terrible. And then as you go, your subconscious just kind of like talks and just you talk about the things that mean something to you and talk about funny things that happened the day before. And it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you have this unfiltered version of yourself before the world gets in your way and before the news says that there's some bomb dropped somewhere in nowhere. I would highly recommend doing that just to kind of get yesterday off your mind and start fresh. And you go back through and you look through and you can see all these little gems that you can pull out.
That's a good answer. Yeah, I like that answer.
Anybody else got one? Go ahead.
I mean, if like in a project in the middle of being stuck, like if we're midway through a song or we're like spinning our wheels to find an idea, usually it's kind of the same thing. I'll have like, especially if it's with an artist, I'll just have them talk like about whatever. Like I'll just ask questions, whatever, until I find something in it. Like I think inspiration isn't something that's like a lightning bolt of like, oh, it hit me. I think there's a lot of it where it's like, you just kind of the grind brings better ideas. Like, I don't know if that's true for like every songwriter, but I'm someone who writes like a ton. Like I do a lot of 2-a-days. I'm just always working because I feel like if I stay immersed in something, eventually you'll find the light at the tunnel. If you feel like you're like sideways, sometimes you just gotta like turn and you'll find it. So I think inside of an idea, there's a lot of ways to get out of it. So like look for a hole. Maybe I had Jeffrey Steele, who's a Hall of Fame songwriter, was my mentor, and he always would say, stand on the ladder and look down. And it's like getting a bird's eye view when you feel like you're in the weeds will help you find inspiration to get out of where you are. I don't know if that helps.
Also, Parker, you're like one of the most prepared songwriters I've ever written with. You just have like every flavor and color of songs out, like ready to roll. It's so good. So I think saving some inspiration for the day the like right artist walks in the room is so good.
That's like ideas. This is maybe this is like a separate thought, but I feel like ideas with inspiration, when it hits, when you feel like you're really inspired, write down everything you have and then save your ideas for where it feels like it's right. Like I always say that they raise their hand when they're ready. And so I'll have tons of ideas in my phone. And when it feels like it's the right room, this has happened to me multiple times where I've been like, this isn't the day to write this. This isn't the day to write this. And it's like, you're writing me today. This is the idea. This is what we're doing today. And it kind of just like forces itself into it because it feels like it's the right room. But I think ideas are like that. So when you feel like you're on a roll, kind of like he's saying, write down everything. When you feel like you're on a roll, collect all those thoughts. So when you have a day that you're not, you still have something that you can come back to that will spark that feeling again.
Great answers. Anybody else got a question?
So it seems like you guys have like your preferences to artists that you write for. Maybe you have like an artist in mind when you're writing a song. Do you ever have instances where like artists will fight over a song? Like they both want it and it's like a duel?
Yes. That's what we like to have happen, yeah. Yeah, that's our favorite thing in the world as songwriters is when people, most of the time that's not the case. People they collect dust. So when they are fighting over them, they're great, and that becomes, sometimes it becomes interesting because you have to, what we do in Nashville is we have a thing called holds. Artists can put song on hold. So it's usually the first one that gets there first. Okay, I want to put that on hold. It doesn't mean I'm going to promise I'm record it, but it means I'm going to put it on hold, and you got to save it from me until I say no. And so that's kind of the way that works. And sometimes songs will have 3 and 4 holds on them by 3 or 4 different artists, and that's the way that happens. Anybody else?
It is me, I'm live. I'm over here, and I just, you're amazing, all of you are amazing. And I had 2 questions, and forgive me for asking this, but I'd love to know, like, how you knew you wanted to be a songwriter. And then the second one is, do you ever get pissed off, like, why is that Carrie Underwood song and not mine? Like, I'd love to know, like, you know.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a question for you.
I mean, I live in a perpetual state of like a roller coaster. One day it's the best day of my life. One day it's the worst day of my life musically. So it's you got to have thick skin, and you got 1,000 no's for every yes. And my business is like not even exaggerating. I'm not, we work like farmers and plow our fields every day, and then one stalk of corn magically grows up and says, "Hey." Yeah, but I do get sad when I listen to the radio and I'm like, my song was better. But that's subjective. Is it better? I don't know. Sometimes it's not.
When you were back in Amarillo, right?
Yeah.
Did you know when you were out in West Texas that you wanted to be a songwriter?
I think this is a good rule for, like, I tell kids, I was like, do something you love. I just wanted to do music in any capacity. And then I came to town and I was like, oh, you can do this? Like not attractive model people can write songs and have a living in it? I mean, that's me right there. I'm in, yeah. So I didn't know back home that I really didn't have any idea. So.
My mom tricked me into it, which sounds weird, but my mom was on the PTA, and there was an elementary school like creative arts program, and I think I was in like kindergarten or first grade, and she was on the board, and there was a songwriting thing where you could like paint a picture. I think I did that, send in like a photo from your summer vacation, and then you could like write a song. So I wrote a song every year, and I kept winning because none of the other kids entered that category. So I thought I was really good. And
World class.
I kept winning. My lyrics were in the State Fair of Texas, framed up on a wall next to somebody's grandma's pie or something. But my mom she thought it was a way to like probably get an hour of time away from me so she could like take care of my little sister and keep her alive. And so she's like, she'll go scribble in a journal for like an hour if we give her an idea, but it obviously turned out okay.
That's amazing.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead. I feel like your story's...
Not really. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm from here, so obviously I knew that songwriters existed. My parents actually met at the Bluebird Cafe.
That's so
This is a true story. And it ended in DIVORC.
Perfect Nashville.
Yeah, it was a perfect Nashville story. But I thought that I was going to go down the artist path, and since I was little, that's what I wanted to do. I had the VHS tape of Shania Twain's VH1 Behind the Music, and I watched it every day, and I was like, oh, her story is so tragic, and she wrote all these songs about her life. I want to do that. And so I started writing songs when I was really young, thinking I would sing them, not knowing how much joy it would give me and how really the right path for me was writing for other people to sing. So that's kind of how I ended up in it.
I became a songwriter by failing miserably as a recording artist. That's literally what happened. It's a very long story, but I came out here on spring break. I was a medical student. I was spring break of my sophomore year in med school. I knew one intern in the music business. I showed up at Nashville. My third day, I got offered a huge recording contract, and it was just kind of, well, what should I do? And so I decided I'd take a year off med school. This is just a typical songwriter story. Take a year off med school, thinking that I can figure out if I'm going to be Garth Brooks, and everybody's telling me I'm going to be Garth Brooks, make a record or two, and I just spent 7 years just sucking as a recording artist. To the point where now I had 2 babies, and I decided to go back to med school after being in Nashville for 7 years. And I packed up my shit and was going to literally went back to med school. And then I got to do med school again, and when I went back, for whatever reason, God decided I was going to be the worst doctor ever. And I'd had 2 songs recorded before then, and that particular year I had 33 recorded and had 5 top 10 singles while I was going to medical school in Oklahoma every day. So it was just a God thing, and he saved a lot of people from me being a doctor. And that's how I became a songwriter.
That's amazing. So good.
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a great story.
I love that story.
Any other questions out there?
We have one back
There's
there.
one back there.
Hi there. Quick question here in the middle. Do any of your artists, like when you write the song, do you also write the music? And then do they ask you, like when you wrote that, what were you thinking as far as the music goes?
Yes, when we present a song to an artist, we present it almost in its full form. We do we call them demos, that's short for demonstration recordings. And typically, sometimes we'll go in with a band. Most of the time now, you're just in a studio with a producer. And by the end of the day, you have something that sounds pretty close to what you want that record to sound like. And one of us will usually sing the demo. And then we pitch our voice with that recording to the artist, and they hear it's like pitching a painting. You don't pitch a sketch. You want that thing as close to the painting as you ultimately want it to be. So we try to make our demos sound as much like records as we can most of the time. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Well, I just wanted to follow up and ask, did you write a song about God saving you from being a doctor?
That's a great question, too.
No, but that's a great idea, huh? I think it's more God saved the world from me being a doctor. That's the.
I got lyrics for you.
That's awesome. Oh, there's one on the far left. I guess far right. I don't know where you are.
Go on here.
So, what songs do you have on hold that we might hear one day?
That's hard to.
We could tell you, but we'd have to kill you. This is top secret stuff. No, we always have songs on hold, and they ultimately that we kind of have so many of them we don't even pay attention to it anymore because they come and go so quickly and so easily, and there's so many of them that that after you've been doing it as long as all of us have, you're kind of like, oh great, it's on hold, and you just we'll see. We don't. There's an old saying. I won't believe it till it's in Walmart. We used to say that when there were records in Walmart. Now it's I don't believe it till I hear it on the radio. Pretty much.
Yeah, that is true.
It's so true.
Hello, over here. I got to thank you so much. Great presentation. Really enjoyed the music. If each one of you had to write a song for a non-country artist, is there someone each one of you might pick?
Adele.
Oh, that's a great one.
Niall Horan, I don't know, just a modern, I don't know.
I feel like Adele's a good answer. I want to take
Parker
that
and I will
answer.
co-write that
Yeah,
one.
we can do that together. One time we can rewrite.
Steal that. Yeah. Yeah. For me, it'd be Adele, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. Honestly, like I would love. It would not make me any money, but I would love to write a Backstreet Boys song. So. Or like Britney's comeback record. I'm here for that too.
I've written Backstreet Boys songs, and it doesn't pay these days.
Yeah.
It used to pay.
AJ one of the Backstreet Boys cut one of my songs, and I was like, I'm gonna die, because they had their poster like on my ceiling as a kid. That's awesome. That was exciting for me.
I had a Boys to Men cut last year, and I was like,
BBD, baby. Come on.
That's so fun.
It's awesome.
I love
I
that.
think there's one over here. You can shout it out.
Feels like a ukulele.
It's a Brett and John.
Yeah.
It's all royalty based. We
Yeah.
don't get paid when they record our song. It's all we get paid royalties based on used to be album sales or whatever. Now we get paid I'm not going to go into it today, but we get paid a very little bit for streaming, and we still get paid pretty well for FM terrestrial radio. But there's some things in the songwriting business that if they don't get fixed, American songwriters will go away very soon because we get paid so little on streaming that we can't make a living at it. And so it's a really long story. We still get paid well for terrestrial radio, but I don't know. Should we explain any of that?
no, I think that's perfect.
Well, also, we're not selling the rights when someone records it. We still own the copyright on it, so the selling rights is like a whole different
Yeah,
can't
it's
perform.
licensing
It's a
it,
possibility,
basically.
but it's like more of like a licensing situation.
And artists a lot of times will change lines, and in our town, many times they've changed a line just because it didn't specifically fit them, or if they wanted to say something else that more aligned with their real life. Like Keith Urban has done it several times and just changed it and didn't ask for anything. Just we said the words would be, he made them a little bit closer to what his life is like. And I think in LA, a lot of times that's part of they do that too, but they might take a large percentage or some percentage, but it's a great family system in Nashville, so.
There's one on the end. Do you want to shout it out?
There's one way over here.
Wait,
Yeah.
oh, there's a microphone coming to her.
Hi, thank you for the performance. I mean, first time in Nashville, I mean, what a unique and cool experience. And country's been a part of my whole life. My dad grew up in Texas. He's your old country farmer boy, so you can imagine a Friday night family get together is Johnny Cash and Marty Robbins. So country's a huge part of our family, and music in general. So when you guys found your passion for music, who is that singer or that band or artist that was your inspiration?
I always said when it came, I used to have like the holy trinity of songwriters when I moved to Nashville. Well, and on top of that was Paul McCartney, but I used to say Paul Simon, Billy Joel, and Sting were my guys who I grew up worshiping.
Mine was, I already said, Shania was like it for me. The Woman in Me is like, I think, just a masterpiece of a record. But also, because I'm from here, I kind of grew up around the songwriting community a little bit, just kind of peripherally knowing what like the Songwriter Festival was. And Matresa Berg and Gretchen Peters are two songwriters that also have artist projects and stuff. And I have been obsessed with their music since I was a small kid. And so I would say those two are probably my biggest like influences that made me really think that I could maybe do that as a female.
Mine was Leanne Womack. I was obsessed. And I think that's how I learned how to like bend my voice. I'd walk around the house going, never again. Somehow I let you back in. And I would try to hit every note. My mom was like, you almost got it. Can you go do that in the garage?
I could hear that absolutely. I remember I grew up in Amarillo, Texas, and I remember George Strait was every other song on the radio, and I really just fell in love with the Judds, and my sister would just play it incessantly, and I just remember you couldn't go anywhere in Amarillo without being country, in that world is everything. So Garth came, and I remember being like 8 years old and not being able to go, and my sister went, and she was going to take me, and then she found a boyfriend to take, and so she dropped me like I remember just being devastated that I didn't get to see Garth. So.
Man, crazy.
I think we got time for one more. This is telling us we're out of time, so I don't want to, put in, or you guys, we'll stay here all day, but I think there's a little clock beeping down here. But
Is that on? No. You can shout it out if
Yeah.
you want
Okay.
to.
Oh,
No, there it is.
you don't have to.
I sure can. Just curious, keeping it light and lovely, which artist would you say, when you hear them on the radio or when we see them on screen, is most true to themselves when you work with them and write a song with them?
That's a good question.
Stapleton's pretty,
Yeah,
Dirk
I would say
Stapleton.
I work really closely with Thomas Rhett, and he is 100% the person that you like see. You want him to be like this wonderful, generous, kind person. Him and Lauren, and they are 100% who they present themselves to be.
I definitely say that about Brett
Yeah.
Eldridge for sure. And everybody go see his Christmas show because it's the best thing you'll ever see.
Oh yeah, that is a vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I work most closely with Carrie Underwood and Kenny Chesney, and I would say that they're both just amazing people. Yeah. We're really blessed in Nashville. We don't have many goofballs.
Yeah.
We're such a small town. If you're a goofball, we don't let you hang around very long.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You got to be kind
Yeah.
to make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome,
I think
y'all.
we're good.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much. This has been a blast.
We'd love to have you guys all day too. Thank you guys so much.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic.